Star Wars Episode 3 Revenge of the Sith, starring Ewan McGregor, Hayden Christensen, and Natalie Portman, was the final installment into the Star Wars series to be conceived and directed by its creator, George Lucas. This film is set 3 years into the Clone Wars. The Jedi rescue Palpatine from Count Dooku. As Obi-Wan pursues a new threat, Anakin acts as a double agent between the Jedi Council and Palpatine and is lured into a sinister plan to rule the galaxy. With this one, the plot thickens, tensions rise, dynasties fall, and young Skywalker's fate is finally sealed within the pages of destiny. Revenge of the Sith is the extremely dark final act in George Lucas's prequel trilogy, closing off the story of Anakin Skywalker and leaving his series beneath a mask of darkness to await the arrival of hope that we all knew was coming in Episode 4. This film was quite good. Hayden Christensen's performance this time around was vastly improved. His character had matured quite a bit more, and honestly you could almost see a bit of struggle within him at times to deliver the few moments of whining that his character had. Yes, there was still some of that crybaby Skywalker left over from the Attack of the Clones, but it was quickly overshadowed each time it reared its ugly and quite annoying head. Christensen actually managed to mask that whiny performance in a more brooding anger for most of the film, which I preferred, honestly. Natalie Portman's performance in this one was a bit stale for my liking. She did relatively fine in the 2 previous films, but for some reason this one felt a bit forced to me. Ewan McGregor, however, was the true show stealer this time around. He has always been my favorite part of the prequel trilogy. His portrayal of Obi-Wan is so spot on, and with each film he has brought him a bit closer to that original performance given by Alec Guinness. His performance in this film was so close that it could have brought me to tears of nostalgia, if the film itself had carried with it a different tone. In my opinion, no one could have delivered a closer representation of a more youthful Kenobi. Once again, the lack of set environment brought the performances in this one down exponentially. Most of the characters feel like they don't have any real motivation behind them because they can't make themselves believe that they are really there in these situations. They just feel wooden. Though I will say that the dialogue is definitely better than in the entirety of the last 2 films combined. Like all the others, this one introduced a whole new cast of characters, as well as resurfaced others that were left forgotten in previous films. The members of the Trade Federation make a brief appearance in this film.
Lord Sidious promised us peace. He only wants...
Jar Jar once again pops up in a very minor sequence, but the biggest newbie here takes on the form of General Grievous, who comes wheezing into this film, tossing his weight around as if he is already a well-established character. And that's because he is. Not that anyone only watching the films would know this. Grievous was first introduced in the Clone Wars animated miniseries, which had a very short run on Cartoon Network after the events of Attack of the Clones. If you haven't noticed it by now, this was the problem. Not many of the people watching the film would have taken the time to seek out and also watch the miniseries. Therefore, no one knew who the hell Grievous was. Yet, he is just thrust into this film with almost zero explanation of who he is, why he is the way he is, or what purpose he serves. And on top of that, in the miniseries, he was bad fucking ass. In the film, they nerfed him into an easily defeatable, gasping crab bot that barely gets any significant fight time, and once his moment to shine finally comes, he is snuffed out within moments. Thanks, Lucas. Way to waste another character with so much potential. The hidden love story between Padme and Anakin continues in this film and is used as the driving force that pushes Anakin into making the decisions to turn him to the dark side, which I guess is fine. What better reason to turn evil than to save some hoe? The fight sequences in this film were fan-fucking-tastic. This one features possibly the greatest lightsaber battle in the entire Star Wars saga. At the very least, it's right up alongside Darth Maul's Duel of Fates. It is the highly anticipated battle between Anakin and Obi-Wan, taking place on the volcanic planet of Mustafar, and it is glorious. This battle was filled with a violent energy that kept the tension dialed up to 11 right to its conclusion. However, this battle is bookended by some of the most cringeworthy and easily mocked dialogue that Lucas has ever written. My friends and I to this day use it as the gold standard of reference jokes. For the first time in the prequel trilogy, we are also given the moment we have all waited for since the opening crawl of episode 1, the reveal of Darth Vader in all his black-suited glory, with a voiceover once again reprised by the legend James Earl Jones. A moment that lived up to all the hype and fills you with overwhelming joy and excitement. Right up until the absolute worst scream of that has ever been allowed to be recorded on film. Why the fucking fuck? Lucas, do you even care about these characters? Seriously, are you just on a mission to make Anakin look like an asshole these days? The ending to this film alone was so well put together. The battle between Anakin and Obi-Wan concludes with Anakin attempting the very same maneuver that Obi-Wan used to defeat Darth Maul in episode 1, but he fails. There was some beautiful symmetry there, and just further proves that Anakin wasn't quite ready to be labeled a Jedi Master yet, despite how powerful he was. The way Lucas intercut the birth of Darth Vader with the birth of Luke and Leia, and the death of Padme, which bridged the gap perfectly leading into the original trilogy. All kidding aside, there is a clear love behind this film. Not only is this the Star Wars movie that we all waited for, but it is very clear that this is the film that George Lucas has been waiting to make this entire time as well. There is very clearly much more time, effort, thought, and care placed into the development of this film than into the entire previous two, than into either of the previous two. They were just stepping stones to this moment, and I honestly can't complain. It was well worth the wait. I'm giving Star Wars Episode 3 Revenge of the Sith a B+. This dark final act of the prequel trilogy was exactly what we needed. In my opinion, in a lot of ways, it redeemed a large amount of the faults of its predecessors, and gave us the moments that we have all been waiting for since we first heard that Lucas was making more Star Wars films. We got to watch Anakin sink into the dark shadow cast by Palpatine, and become the infamous villain that we all love to hate. We got to see the literal birth of two of the heroes of the rebellion, and how they ended up where we first met them in A New Hope. What more can we ask for? Aside from, having two beginning films that didn't have so much to hate.
Who could have done this?
Twisted by the dark side, young Skywalker has become.
I feel so helpless.
You are the chosen one!
If you enjoyed today's segment, feel free to click that sub button to stay up to date on all my latest reviews. Click that little bell to be notified on all future uploads. If you'd like to show your support for Embrace the Film, consider becoming a patron. For as little as $1 a month, you can help me produce more content each week. If you have any suggestions for the show, or for films you would enjoy seeing reviewed, or if you have a short film that you would like me to review, feel free to leave a comment below. Don't forget to drop a like, and I will see you all next time. Thanks for watching.